Hi, I'm Martin, and I have a big problem. This is the pile. As you can see, I buy way too many anime models, and I gotta get these guys out of their boxes. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna open all these boxes just for you. Welcome to Cate Frenzy. Hey party ponies, welcome to Cate Frenzy. We're going to be doing a new review today, and today's pony is Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie is known as the resident party pony of Equestria. She is the one and only. She is basically the most bubbliest character you'll ever find in any show. She is nuts. For her character, we have an awesome brand new Bishoujo, so let's talk about it. Let's go to the box. So for Pinkie Pie, we have the Kotobukiya Bishoujo boxes. It's similar to the other boxes I've shown in the past. We have the window in the front. We have the picture of Pinkie in the Shunya Yamashita art. Then on this side, her picture is actually a giant cupcake. Again, normally these are cutie marks, but they chose different design motifs so you can see more into the figure. Then on the back, we have pictures of the model you'll be getting, and then on this side we have the artwork by Shunya as well, the super happy Pinkie. On top we have the open window that shows you into the box as well. The bottom just has your cautionary information as usual, and then for this box you also have the rainbow, which is a cry back to the 1980s like My Little Pony series figures. So we have for Pinkies, we have a blue, yellow, pink, and like darker pink rainbow for her box. Generally speaking, these boxes are all the same. I'm just going to compare something because I believe I mentioned in the last video that Twilight's box was a bit bigger. I can just tell by looking at this box that she is about the same size as Applejack's box. So Sunset Shimmer and Twilight Sparkle have bigger boxes, probably because they're the main characters, while we have Pinkie Pie and Applejack and the other main six as a smaller box. So this box is more in line with Applejack's box. I'm going to give the box an 8 out of 10 as usual, just like the other boxes, because they're all pretty similar and there's nothing really that sets them anything apart from each other. So 8 out of 10 for the box. And again, we also have the little patterns on the side too of all the cutie marks on there. There's like rainbows, there's balloons, there's butterflies. So we have a couple of different things in common with the other boxes. Now that we got the box out of the way, we can pretty much just talk about the packaging. So for packaging wise, Pinkie Pie's box probably has the same diff as the other boxes. So on the top we have a piece of tape that just covers up the top corner. And then we open this guy up, and then I'm pretty sure, yep, it's got the scallop backside here, which is pretty cool. And then open her up. Pinkie Pie comes in 2 pieces of plastic. And for her inner box, hers is kind of interesting because it still says My Little Pony, but this side is blue and that side's pink. So this one actually has 2 different colors on both sides. The other boxes had just one color. Pinkie Pie was also the first one announced, I believe. Then Twilight came shortly after, but I think Pinkie was actually the first one they announced. Maybe in Japan's market, people like Pinkie a lot. Maybe that's why she was announced first, who knows. For the packaging, we have the 2 pieces of plastic. There's a big space in between. And for this one, again, we have the face window, which again, I'm not too big of a fan of, because if, you know, something pierces the box, then smack right in the face and the face gets damaged. So I'm not a big fan of it, but the box has the open window so you can see into the figure. That makes it easier to look at when you're in the shopping area, you know, like in a mall or in a store somewhere, you can see her right away. That's mainly my own pet peeve. I wish there was better packaging for the face. The general figure itself is covered with tape all around. Open that up. And we have like a button packaging on the bottom. This one just has 4. I think the other ones had 6. So this one only has 4. So they have definitely improved the packaging over time. Oh, Interesting. This one can be separated. Ah, okay, so this one has a bag on top, and Pinkie has also a bag as well. And then we're just gonna open her up. And this one pops up from the top. And she also has some plastic just underneath her hairs to prevent any kind of like scraping between the hair and the clothing during transportation. So we're just gonna take that piece out. Pretty much all there is for packaging. It's not super protected. You have just the plastic bags. I mean, it had an extra piece of plastic. This packaging job on these ones could be definitely better, but I'll just give this one like an 8 out of 10, just like the rest of them, because it's pretty similar to the other packaging. There's not much else to say about that. So 8 out of 10 for the packaging. For Pinkie's base, so this one's a little bit different because I actually had to put her in this time. We have Pinkie already attached, and then there's just a foothold for Pinkie's leg right there. Do you see that? So we're just gonna add her leg, and for Pinkie, she just has the one holder right there on her foot, and then we're just gonna pop her in pretty simply, just straight down into here. This is the first time I've had to assemble one of these, so it looks like they just decided to start assembling these. Oh, look at that. This thing is nuts. Like, I mean, honestly, look at that craziness. She does feel a little bit unstable compared to the rest of the figures. The base isn't like, I can see now why they attached the other figures. This base feels a little wobbly compared to the other ones, but also she's on one leg, so there's that too. So let's go over to the stats about Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie comes to us from Kotobukiya, just like the rest of the Bishoujo line. She was the first to be announced, and she was $109 Canadian. That was back in 2019, so again, she's a little bit more expensive now, and she is crazy hard to find right now. If you want to find Pinkie Pie, you'll have to find the glitter version, and the glitter version is even more expensive and hard to come by because the fans are ravenous for Pinkie Pie. She stands just over 9 inches as well, just like the other models, and her base is also 4 inches in length and width. Pinkie Pie is incredible. Let's talk about her awesome sculpt and paint. So for Pinkie Pie, like, we have so much going on for this pony. She is an incredible pony. Look how energetic this pose is. The first thing you want to know is just how much more energy this pose has compared to the other 3 I have already opened. This one really shouts Pinkie Pie to me, and this is the best part. Speaking of which, when Pinkie Pie first met Twilight Sparkle, it was quite the scene.
Maybe the ponies in Ponyville have interesting things to talk about. Come on, Twilight, just try.
Hello? Well, that was interesting, all right.
So you can see that when you have Pinkie Pie come out of her like character introduction, she's a very strange pony, and like the fact that the first thing you show of Pinkie Pie is her freaking out like that, blasting off to make a party for Twilight, really shows you her hospitality. And Pinkie Pie is like one of the greatest party ponies in Equestria. This pose really speaks to that. You have all sorts of things going on with this pose. The first thing I want to pop off with is her amazing hair. Her hair is basically like candy floss that you see in like a fair. Like, it's so big and luscious. Like, it looks like you could probably just eat this. It's like cotton candy, right? It's like a big giant piece of floss. It is so spectacular. Look at the shape of this. There's so much going on, and it has such amazing amounts of movement. Like, just look at all the detail on the back of this hair. Like, there's so much going on. It's so fluffy. Reminds me of the old like 1950s like beehive hairstyle where it's like this humongous lump of hair in the back. This really gives Pinkie that whole like teenager vibe, especially with the thing that Pinkie works like at well, in Equestria Girls, she works at like a diner, so it's like it has a whole vibe where she feels kind of retro but also like pretty modern, but she has definitely a retro feel to her, and that's the whole like rockabilly slash, you know, diner feel to her, and that's why she's so fun. It's because she just harkens back to an older age where everything was more carefree, and it really shows in this design how well they incorporated that into the figure. So I've gone to like a themed restaurant where it's old 1930s, 1950s called diner style, and they don't have people on roller skates for obvious reasons because it's too dangerous nowadays, especially if you fall, you could break more than glass and plates. But I would love to see that. If they want to modernize it, why don't you give them dual discs? Because Yu-Gi-Oh says wherever the fuck now, and they just give anybody a dual disc on anything you're doing. Cars, motorcycles, you name it, they have it. Why not have Yu-Gi-Oh on skateboards? You could have Tony Hawk being a skateboard duelist. Could you imagine Tony Hawk dueling cards on a skateboard? Just imagine that. It'd be the funnest thing ever. Imagine if he was also serving you food at the same time while on a skateboard and dueling his opponent. Imagine a dueling restaurant where Tony Hawk is serving you food on a skateboard while also dueling, I don't know, fucking Chad Muska. I don't know any skateboarders of this year. Obviously, my knowledge comes from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2. There's a lot to like about the hair because like it's got all sorts of like bumps and texture, and there's so much weight to the hair, and like you're just wondering how the hell this Pinkie hair, like how does it stay up, because it's so incredible in how thick it is. But because her hair is so thick, there's all sorts of pieces on her hair. So her hair is actually made up of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to say like 5 or 6 pieces. There are some lines that you can see that are kind of noticeable in her hair, especially on the tip here. There is a line right here that you can see where this little piece there is. They didn't even have to include this curl, but they wanted to include the curl, so there is a line that separates the two pieces. And of course, there's also a line that goes through the center, like middle of the hair. That's hard to see, so I'll just kind of zoom in. But there is a piece of like hair that's attached on this line here, and that part isn't really noticeable, especially because there's so many lines in her hair that it's not super hard noticeable. But the front of the hair, like, I love her bangs. Her bangs are uber cute, like they are super nice. She has the giant like long front bangs too, and these are like so fun because they're all curly and smooth, and I really enjoy this hair in general. Out of all the ponies, she also has her pony ears. So she does have the pony ears on her head. I think she's the only one thus far that has them. For Equestria girls, they have like a pony as their mascot for the high school. So these are actually part of the whole like pride of the high school. You wear the ears and the tails, and there's this fabulous song which is called Shake Your Tail, and it's a great song from the Equestria Girl movie. Is it from the movie? I think it was from the movie. There's been so many Equestria Girls spin-offs that it's hard to keep track of which one was which. But there's this great fabulous song about Shake Your Tail where they're trying to bring up like school pride. So they included the ears on top for that, but they didn't have the tail. Kind of wish they had the tail, but the ears are good enough. This figure reminds me more of a pony than the other redo so far, because the ears really kind of add to that whole like anthropomorphic design to the figure. Now for her clothing, we have some really fun clothing. This clothing is like incredibly vibrant. There is gradient colors in the skirt. There is an amazing, like, how do you call this? A bolero jacket with like the light blue and the yellow sleeves. She has her yellow bangle up top, and then she has a big giant cupcake t-shirt. Now the cupcake t-shirt, again, this is something that you would probably see in the 1950s. Like, it's very old school retro diner look, like that chic, shabby chic look. And that's what's so nice about Pinkie's design. She has a big purple bow here too. The posing allows her body to have a lot of movement, and that includes a lot of movement in the fabric, especially like in her bolero. There's lots of folds going on the inner side there. You can see in the bottom there's lots of folding going around and lots of tension being pulled on all the sleeves, so that's super good. Bolero jackets are one of my favorite things to see in fashion, so having her have one is an awesome plus for me personally, because I do love bolero jackets. And then she also has like the really fun tank top, and instead of being just a regular shirt, they gave her like a pink V that ties into her skirt on the bottom there. Her petticoat, like giant skirt, like this is awesome. There's so much awesome gradient colors going on here. It's like a light pink to like a blush pink to like a rose pink, and this is like super nice. It's got lots of weight to it. The cutie mark right there, Pinkie Pie's cutie mark, is balloons. Basically the balloons signify that she is a party pony and she's meant to make people happy by throwing parties all the time. which is a fun purpose in life. It's like a party planner almost. And Pinkie has a lot of parties throughout the seasons. Okay, small rant, but a lot of people when they talk about Pinkie Pie, they think she's very immature because she eats a lot of cake, she does a lot of partying, and she's always in her hot air balloon with Gummy, her like pet alligator. And like the thing is, she is always known to be the least mature out of the batch of ponies that we have for main characters. But I feel like that is disingenuous to Pinkie Pie because Pinkie Pie has an alternate version of herself called Pinkamena Diane Pie, which is like her true self, which is her self that was brought up in a family that had very strict rules. They didn't wear any colors, and they were very antisocial, and they just had this whole air about them that everything was terrible. Pinkie Pie, when she grew up, she moved to Ponyville and started her own party business. And I feel like the reason for that is because Pinkie Pie is actually always trying to make sure that people's mental health stays stable and happy. She does this not for herself, but for her friends and everybody around her because she wants to make society a better place. She just really wants to make sure that everybody is in a good mental state. She wants them to be less like Pinkamena and more like Pinkie Pie. And I think that's a great thing about Pinkie. Pinkie is a super loyal character. She's always there for you. No matter what you need her for, she may be doing it her own way, but like she's always there for you. And I feel like people who call her immature don't actually see the things that she's trying to do for everybody. And Pinkie's songs even talk about that a lot. Like her Smile, Smile, Smile song really talks about like depression and lonely days, and like she's actually a really good character in general, but people always just throw her off because she's this big, bright, cotton candy looking pony. But you know what? Pinkie Pie is one of the best ponies in the show, bar none, and she's a lot more loyal than certain characters that are supposed to be representing loyalty. The pastry thing is like, relevant because she has like the muffin on her shirt. The muffin has like a cherry, it has some like chocolate, there's like those wafer sticks, and like it is super decadent looking. So even her shirt is like makes you want to party and eat big giant amounts of food. And Pinkie's like overall thing is just have fun with life, and that's what's so nice about her. The fun thing with Pinkie is that her face is like really incredible. You have like a really happy face that's like really energetic, and there's really bright blue eyes. It's super nice. The roof paint job of the mouth is really good. It's all cleaned in. There's no like missing paint. And then the teeth are really clean as well. The face, it's a bit nicer, I think, compared to the other two. Like, it's more in line with Applejack's face. And out of all the figures, Pinkie Pie looks the most anime out of all the figures, I think, because this pose, particularly like an anime type pose on one leg and just going, yay! Like that's the pose that you see in anime. So like she is more anime than the other characters, I find. And that's good because like Pinkie is very animated, so like the fact that she has such a great pose is really fantastic. Her skin color for her is the peach color. They decided not to give her the pink skin that she has. The glitter version does have pink skin, so if you want to go for like a more traditional looking pony version, then you want the glitter version. Again, the glitter version is a little bit harder to come by. It's like a seafood version, and there's like sparkles all over in the paint, so it makes it look really spectacular because it like pops out. This one's more traditional, but again, this one's really hard to find. I had to buy Twilight Pinkie and all these ponies right away because I knew that they were going to sell out quite quickly. So when you want to get these, you want to make sure to get them right away because they will disappear. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fluttershy, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, Princess Celestia, Princess Luna. There is still 5 more to open, and I was like, I'm going to stop collecting these once they release all main 6. And I was in the back of my mind being like, okay, they're probably going to release like 1 or 2 more in between. But now I'm like, okay, there's still the Cutie Mark Crusaders, Princess Cadence, like maybe Queen Chrysalis, and like a whole host of other characters, Lyra, Bonbon, probably maybe Octavia. They could release a whole bunch of characters. And you know what? The madness never stops. We'll just be collecting these all the way into Generation 5. And then Generation 5 will have their own Bishoujo's probably. And then we'll all just go nuts trying to collect these. So, you know what? The bottom line is, we're never done collecting My Little Pony. These ponies are already going for like $700 to like $1,000 on eBay, so you might want to get them now before they become super expensive. They have a lot of good minute details down for this figure, like for instance, how I mentioned that like Twilight had special like ruffle underwear for her figure. Well, for Pinkie Pie, to go with the whole like petticoat motif, they actually gave her bloomers. So she has bloomers on. And the funny thing about her bloomers is that they actually shaded the bloomers with pink, and at first I thought it was actually the skirt just reflecting off of the white, but the bloomers actually have a little bit of pink as shadowing. It is a big motif in My Little Pony because traditionally people think of pink as a female color. That is not so true nowadays. Nowadays pink is a universal color, which is great in my opinion because I love the color pink. And being able to wear pink is great because it should be gender neutral. It shouldn't have to be to one sex. For Pinkie's boots, we have her bright blue boots and they have the yellow heel. The fun thing about her boot is that there's actually her cutie mark on her boot, like on the bottom of it. I thought that was a really fun little detail. They didn't have to do that. I don't know if that's good for like treaded purposes. Like I guess it'd be like her tread on her foot. As for her boot, like I think their only issue, I think maybe like the string on the boot, because the strings are so thin, it's kind of impossible not to kind of bleed into the blue. The pink ribbons are good too because they match her hair color. This figure overall is like really well balanced in terms of color and sculpt. It's a great figure. I don't know what else to say, but like it's a super nice figure. Now as for Pinkie Pie the pony, because these are separated for once, I can actually do this. So for Pinkie, this pony, like, look at her, amazing poofy hair. That is one hell of a hair. She looks like Josuke from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure because she has like the pompadour going on and it's such a big wide piece of hair. This actually might give Rarity a run for her money in terms of hair department. We'll have to see once we open up Rarity, but like this figure is great. The one thing I do have a problem with though is I like Pinkie's face. It's super happy. From certain angles it seems a little bit too wide, but I think that's just because it's kind of weird just seeing it in 3D. If you look at it directly like that, it's perfectly fine. She does have the 3D eyelashes, which is awesome. And then she has her cutie marks on the side. Her tail is super poofy. It's so big that it almost touches the base of the stand. And then the stand's base, like, it's basically really fun. It has like cupcakes and balloons. Like I mentioned before, this is better than the other two because Twilight's is like stars, and Applejack's is a bunch of apples, and Sunset has a bunch of suns. But this one's fun because it's got cupcakes and balloons, and it's a lot more fun, I think, just because it has more variety for the base. Again, it has this weird, like, thin base. These things are just like, how do you do this? It's impossible. How does this stay in the base? It's so crazy to me. Bases this thin, being so strong, like, they have a really strong connection. Like, it is incredible the amount of tech that goes into the stand because it's like, it's so tight and it just doesn't fall out. It's probably the happiest of all the ponies thus far. It is so great. I kind of wish she was winking. The main issue I have with this piece of pony is that I think I only noticed one little thing, and that was like this weird random black mark that's on the tail. I think that's just probably due to when it was being produced, so not a huge problem. So there's a little bit of extra shading on Pinkie that's actually quite noticeable. On Applejack and Twilight, I didn't really see that extra shade. Maybe it's a little bit lighter on them, but for Pinkie, you can tell that there's a little bit of darker pinks on certain edges of her body, so that's good too. So the pony portion is really good as well. Overall, like, the sculpt on this figure, I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. This figure's sculpt is really quite perfect. There's only a major issue is like the lines in the hair, like being not like super clean. And that's pretty much it. Like, this figure is super clean overall sculpt wise. And for paint, honestly, the paint on this is pretty impressive. I think this one deserves a perfect 10 out of 10 just because there's so much nice things about this one. It is very fun. Now, if you want to talk about overall appeal, well, the figure itself is cute, it's fun, it's got lots of energy going on about it. And in general, the figure itself is a great collector's item. Even if you're not a My Little Pony fan, this figure in general is just really fun, and I think anybody would be able to pick this one up and be happy with it. So overall appeal is a 10 out of 10. It is great. I love this one. It's super fun, and being the first in the line really set a precedent for the rest of the figures. Now that I think about it, I think she probably was the best choice for the first pick because like her pose and stuff draws you in immediately, and she's super happy, and it shows you the amount of detail they're willing to go with, especially with the hair and the petticoat. So like, she is overall a very fantastic addition to the Bishoujo line. Alright, so that just basically means that Pinkie's final score is 91%. So for this figure, everything is good for it. There's good hair, there's good clothing, there's a great pose, there's great paint, the sculpt work is fantastic, only minor problems with the sculpt, and in general, this is probably one of the better ponies of the collection, and I can't wait to see what Fluttershy, Rarity, and Rainbow Dash bring to us in the next reviews. So I hope you enjoyed this review of Pinkie Pie. If you want to see more, you can check out Twilight Sparkles, Applejacks, Sunset Shimmers, and any of the future ones. You can check out the new videos in the playlist, and I'll leave you again with this week's message. We'll see you again next week. Bye!